Good evening, everyone. Welcome to John and Michelle's Sunday night Satsang, coming to you tonight from Port Elizabeth, not our usual hometown. But welcome and thank you. Tonight we have a couple of very nice things to discuss with you. We're going to be looking at astrology and the full moon and the energy of the next week or so. And we're also going to be looking at the importance and the value of self-love. What is that? And how does it compare to self-esteem? So that's what we're going to be looking at tonight.
Yes. Welcome to those of you who are joining us, and we look forward to our Sundays with you. It's a nice way to end the weekend and start a new week. And we really feel privileged that you join us. So thank you. It's nice to see you back again.
Yeah, it's good to build up a community in this way on a Sunday. For many people is quite a sacred day, and it's good to round off the Sunday with this get together, this satsang, this sharing of wisdom and love. And welcome to all who are watching us tonight again. And we always like to know who you are, so if you want to send us a comment, where you're from, and if you're enjoying tonight, send us a couple of likes, share it with your friends, and we love getting the hearts as well. So if you can give us a few hearts, that's really, really great. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, and a wave.
Hello,
we're getting
Christine.
We're getting a wave there. Yeah. So welcome. And we're going to start this evening in the usual way, and that is by coming fully into the sacredness of tonight, the sacredness of this present moment, which is the most precious thing in all of creation. Why? Because it's the only thing that's real, is the now. So let's just do what we usually do, and that's fully occupy this body. This body is a wonderful gift to us of presence, because the body is always in the present moment. And it's only the mind that goes into other realms, other times, yesterday and tomorrow and what's going to happen in a year's time and what happened to you 20 years ago. That's the mind. But reality is always in the body. It's always here, always now. And so let's gently maybe just shut our eyes and becoming centered in the present moment, in the body, in the now, the eternal now, the now that never changes. So shutting our eyes, let us focus on the body and where you're sitting right now. Feel your feet on the floor and your bum on the chair. If you have a backrest, just rest back against the backrest and feel the support of the back of the chair. Feel your bum being supported. Feel your feet supported. And now become aware of your hands and where they're resting right now. Feel them relax. Not clenched in any way, but open and relaxed. Become aware of your breath and your breathing. Become aware of the sounds you can hear. And as we move through our body, we relax the neck, the shoulders, the arms, the hands, the fingers. We move down our spine, relaxing the vertebra, giving thanks for all the work they've done today. We relax our pelvic region, our thighs, our knees. Bring our awareness down to the calf muscles, the ankles, and into the feet. Relaxing each toe in turn. Becoming aware of the arch of our feet, relaxing the arches. Becoming aware of your torso, the organs that work so tirelessly to provide us with the human experience, the heart, the beating of the heart, the lungs, the liver, spleen, pancreas, intestines, And we relax and center ourselves just into this moment now. And one of the tools we can use during the week, or whenever we have challenges or stressful situations to deal with, is this wonderful, wonderful gift called the breath. The breath is always with us, always now, always present. So let's take a deep breath in now, drawing the air deep into our body. And then that long, relaxing, releasing out breath as we relax our shoulders and our neck muscles even more. And we take an in-breath, maybe to the count of 4. And then that releasing out breath to the count of 6 or count of 8 if you can. Just releasing, letting go. Let's try that again. The in-breath to 4, filling your whole body, particularly your tummy, drawing the air down, and that long out breath to 8, if you can manage that. Squeezing all the stale air out of you. It's done at work, you no longer need it. Take a deep breath in, pushing your belly button out, drawing the air down, then taking the air up into your shoulders, and that beautiful, long, long, relaxing, releasing, surrendering out breath. Just let it go, let it go, let it go. And now, once again, hand over that breathing to this intelligence which we call life. The life that lives us, the life that breathes us, the life that beats our heart, digests our food, transports the nutriments to every single cell in our body. We hand over the breath to that intelligence, but maintaining an awareness of the breath, the in-breath, the slight pause, and then that releasing, relaxing out-breath, and the pause once more before the in-breath. And we're keeping our awareness centered on that breath, for the breath is always present. At the same time, we are aware of everything we can hear, without labeling it or resisting it or judging it. We're just aware of the faintest sounds that you can hear right now. And we're aware in this moment of awareness itself, that is aware of the breath, that's aware of the sounds, that's aware of the chair you're sitting on, it's aware of the floor where your feet are resting. You're aware of the sensation of the hands, the shoulders, of the temperature of the air on your cheeks. You're aware of this awareness that is aware. And you're aware, most importantly, of the stillness that underlies all activity, all thinking, all doing. There's a beautiful, wonderful ocean of stillness. And we rest in that stillness for a moment, for a sacred moment, for a moment of silence, a moment of stillness, a moment of peace. Just resting. Being aware of the sacredness and the gift of just this moment here now, right here, right now. Being aware of the space between our thoughts. And now take a deep breath in, pushing your tummy up like a big ball, drawing the air down into the body, and then that beautiful long, relaxing, releasing out breath, again making it twice as long as the in-breath, just releasing it. Take a second, deeper breath in, pushing the tummy out, taking the air right down to your toes, and then that wonderful, beautiful, relaxing breath, and we relax our neck muscles, our forehead, and our shoulders as we breathe out. And then a third, deep breath in, right down to our toes once more, right down to our fingertips, and up to the top of our head. And then that beautiful, lovely, surrendered out-breath, just letting it go, releasing. And once more handing over the breathing to that wonderful intelligence called life, trusting that life will breathe you. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes. And just see once more how you feel in this moment. How do you feel right now? How does your body feel right now? A bit more relaxed, a bit more comfortable. You've let go of a bit of stress maybe, stress in the mind and stress in the body, a bit more centered. And maybe you've connected to this energy called life, or this energy called peace. Wonderful. Well, welcome. We really enjoy the Sunday night satsangs that we commune with you with, and we value your participation. I believe that the more that are gathered together in the intention of peace, the more our light grows, and the more we activate the healing for planet Earth. Yes, there is a lot of suffering on Earth, and I believe that the suffering is ignorance and darkness. But when we gather together on a Sunday night like this, we add the light of awareness, the light of community, the light of connection. And that light radiates out. And all on its own, with no doing, that light brings healing. Brings healing to you, to your loved ones, and to the planet as a whole. So thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks for sending us your little notes about where you're from. And we see we've got some lovely new people and some wonderful people that have joined us for a long time. So thank you. So we're going to be talking tonight about the importance of self-love and what that means. And I think it's one of the themes that are coming up a lot at the moment for a lot of people, because we're moving through a lot of change on our planet and individually as well, so collectively and individually. So we're going to chat about that. And I think I'll just start by giving you a little bit of an update in terms of what we've got ahead of us this week astrologically, very briefly. We've got a full moon on Tuesday, the 2nd of September, so it's kind of ushering in spring, although it feels like the middle of winter where we are. And it's actually a very gentle full moon, which is quite a nice change from all the hectic stuff that we've had over the last few months. This full moon's in the beautifully gentle sign of Pisces, which is a water sign, and it's very, very connected, very intuitive, very imaginative, very sensitive. So full moons are always at a time which is sort of the culmination of the moon cycle, and it's a time where things are often shown to us. So full moons will amplify whatever's going on for us, and they often shine the light on issues, which is why some people battle more at full moon to sleep, because they have very active minds, and the minds are very more active at full moon. Very often more people are admitted to lunatic asylums, mental asylums at full moon than at any other time, because of everything sort of bright and light and in your face. So that's what a full moon is. It brings things out so that we can look at them and amplifies them. This one though is pretty gentle. So the full moon always means that the moon and the sun are opposite each other, and the sun is in the sign of Virgo, the moon is in the sign of Pisces. And they're very different signs. They complement each other in many ways. But with the sun in Virgo for this month that we're in, it's very much about discerning. It's about making order out of chaos. It's about looking to see what works, what doesn't work. It's kind of critical thinking in a way, in terms of analyzing, strategizing a way forward. It's quite mind-oriented, Virgo. But at full moon, when the moon's opposite that sun, it starts to pull us into much more of a place of oneness, of connection. So it's sort of the polarity between criticism and acceptance, separation, polarization, and oneness. So Pisces is the ocean, it's the fish swimming in the ocean. There are no barriers, there are no boundaries, everybody's at one. There's no desire for boundaries or barriers. So it's kind of a little bit like unconditional love. That's how I sense the energy of Pisces, where we are all connected. And it's the knowing of that is true self-love, is to know that we are connected to everything. So it's a really nice theme for tonight and for the full moon. So at this full moon, we also have another connection with a planet called Uranus, which is connected with both the sun and the moon, and it's a favorable one. It's a harmonious one. So what we're being called upon with this full moon, the way I see it, is to veer more in the direction of non-judgment and oneness, and to connect more deeply inside, so that we shut the noise out from our heads. And we're always talking about that, John and I, because that's a lot of what the teaching's about. But this moon's really telling us that in no uncertain terms. So it's a very good a full moon to listen to your dreams. So if you are dreaming more, to maybe write them down and see if they trigger anything in you, if they give you any insights, because it's very possible, very probable that insights will come at this full moon, provided that we quiet enough to hear. So we need to be quiet enough to hear that intuitive voice that's always there, but we've got to tune into it. It's a bit like a radio station. It's always broadcasting, but we're not always tuned in. So this full moon takes some time to actually tune in. So you can do it any time up to the full moon and after. So that day, so the evening of the first and the day of the second, just take some time to just be and bring yourself into presence more on these next few days, because the insights will be there. They'll present themselves rather than us trying to think them through and analyze them and figure out the next step. This isn't about figuring it out. It's about letting it arise. And then the other thing that's happening is we've got quite a sort of a dynamic pattern between the relationship planets this full moon. And that can lead to a little bit of confusion, possibly some slightly conflicting kind of feelings in terms of emotions and relationships. So just be aware of that. That if stuff rises in you, just try to step back into the position of the witness before you react, before you respond, because there is quite a lot of combative energy still around, and in our personal lives and collectively on the planet, there's a lot of that going on. So really, it's a time to actually just be centered and take yourself into that quietness as much as you can during the day. We've spoken quite a lot about the power of the pause, just taking a moment between actions, between activities, between where you're about to respond or about to react or about to criticize, which kind of takes us to that self-love thing. But when you're about to criticize yourself or others, just take a few deep breaths before you do that and bring yourself into presence, and then see if you still need to say what you were going to say, because you might not need to. Might be a more loving thing not to say it. And if there is still the need to do it, then you can say it in a loving way to yourself or someone else. So I think that's about it, without going into too much astrology, but it kind of leads into, I think, the theme for the evening.
Yeah, self-love.
Yeah.
And that's interesting when you say when there is a bit of a conflict in relationships, and it can happen at work, it can happen in relationships with the children or the parents, it can happen in relationship with the intimate other. And it's to always ask yourself if you can go into that bit of pause, just for a moment, just to bring a bit of awareness and consciousness into that moment and say, what would love do here? What would love do now? And that completely shifts your awareness quite often. And I do believe that stillness, if you're able to pause before reacting, that awareness of what would love do can come into your consciousness and lead the next response, can lead the words that come out of you, or the no words. I mean, you can sit in quietness for a moment. It's amazing how powerful stillness is in any conflict situation. Just allowing the stillness to be there, allowing the mind to quieten down. And as you allow your mind to quieten down, so the mind of the other also starts to quieten down. Nothing feeds the pain body more than more conflict, more drama. So if you're able to step back into that space and just quieten for a moment, you can see a big change in the children or in the office with the colleague who's really annoying or whatever it is, or the spouse or whatever. So just take time to pause. It's a good advice that Michelle gave there. And just ask, what would love do now?
I love that. And I think that we can bring that through in every facet of our lives. You know, what would love do now in terms of choosing what I'm going to eat, choosing how I'm going to speak to myself when I wake up. What would love do when I open my eyes? How would love treat me if I was love? So how would I speak to myself? How would I speak to somebody else? How would I look after myself? How would I feed myself? Would I get enough sleep? Would I get enough exercise? Would I nurture myself when I could? What would love do? I love that question. It's a really interesting question, a beautiful question. It leads you into the next action.
Very powerful. You know, we all want love in the world, but do we spend any time there ourselves? You know, we want other people to give it to us, but where are we coming from? Are we in that place? So tonight we're looking at self-love, and that ties in with self-worth. And what is the difference between self-love and self-worth? And isn't it selfish? Isn't it selfish to look after yourself? And part of that question is also, what is the self? What is the self that needs the worth? What is the self that needs the love? And the other part of that is, what is love? What is love? You know, we use these words, but how much comprehension do we have of self and love? What do they mean? Or do we think we know what they mean, but when we actually look at them, we don't know what they mean?
Well, I mean, we love ice cream, and we love our dog, and we love each other, and we love that dress in the window.
Not me. I love the dress on a woman, not in the window.
But I mean, there's one word for this incredible thing called love.
Yeah, and what is it?
Yeah.
And what is, so when we talk about self-worth, you know, what is the worth that we want to connect with, you know? And what is love? What is self? And these are questions which we do need to contemplate a little bit, because we all want self-love. Yeah. We all want self-worth. But maybe we're looking in the wrong direction. So if you think about it, we've been programmed to believe that we are human doings. Most people believe themselves to be human doings. And that's really put on us from a very young age, because when we achieve something, oh, look, Johnny's walking. He's taken a second step. Oh, well done. You get a wave of love and appreciation towards you. And, you know, it's the same at school. You know, when you achieve in marks, or you achieve on the athletic field, you are more appreciated. And appreciation is love, isn't it? And so we tend to associate achievement with love. But they're not. They're not the same at all. They're very, very different.
Yeah, and we also, we often outsource it. So we look for somebody to approve of us in order for us to feel loved. And then what happens if that person or those people don't give us the approval that we're looking for? Then what happens? So that the self-love's got to be there as a root, because you can't find it outside yourself. I mean, it's nice if somebody loves you. It's wonderful. It's lovely to be loved. And it's lovely to show love and receive love. But you can never guarantee that. So looking at it, looking for it outside of us, will often leave us wanting. And then sort of feeling that why didn't that work out, and then that creates a whole nother can of worms.
Yeah. So let's look at the word love. What is love? So for a lot of people, love is a whole host of expectations. That's what love is.
Yeah.
And in truth, love has no expectations. Love is hard to define. In fact, love can't be defined. And the reason is because only things with boundaries can be confined or defined in language. Beyond boundaries. Love has no boundaries. Love has no expectations. So for me, one of the sort of ways of encompassing it or trying to bring it into an area of understanding, which you can't do because love is to be felt, not to be understood. But in my limited capacity to try and understand love, is to say that love is your felt sense of oneness. Love is your felt sense of oneness. So it's a sense of connection. Love is your sense of connection. So whether it is connecting with the world on the outside, you're connecting with the flower in the garden, you're connecting with the weather, you're connecting with the spouse or the children, or your possessions, there's a sense of connection. But there's also that sense of inner connection, isn't there? The connection with your real self, with the divine self. It's that sense of community. Community, it means that you are intimately connected in a functional way with all that is. And then the other part of that is the word self. What is the self? You know, so sometimes we say, well, we don't really like ourselves. Well, which is the self that's
Which
not
self?
liking the self? I mean, how many of you are there in there? Now, I know a lot of people have quite a few, as we talk about these roommates in their head, you know, many roommates, and some are very critical. And you get the ego and the super ego, and they're generally very critical of each other, very judgmental of each other. And that's not, I mean, how many selves do you have? And in truth, there is, well, the way of looking at it is the, you know, self spelt with a small s and the self spelt with the capital S. And this is just arbitrary. But the self that we generally associate ourselves with is with our achievements. It's a little one. And that is what I am what I do, I am what I have, and I am what other people think of me. That's the egoic self.
It's the little self that looks in the mirror and says, oh, there's a grey hair and there's a wrinkle and I don't like my nose and, you know, I'm embarrassed because I did this. That's the little self.
That's the little self.
And that's what we usually align ourselves with.
Yeah.
That's me. That's who I am.
That's the personality. And the personality, you know, if you know where the word comes from, it means for sound to pass through. That's really where the word means. And it comes from the, I think it was in the Roman era where they used to have masks with a trumpet in order to project their voice when they were acting in plays. And so that was a board or a mask that they would have with a trumpet in, and they would project the wind of their voice through that. So that's the persona. And we become identified with that persona, with that mask. And, you know, some people, I know some ladies in the morning, they get up and they put their mask on, you know, makeup mask.
They say they put their face on.
They put their face on. And we all have some sort of mask that we put on, the mask of, I am a very important person because of X, Y, Z, or I am your mother, or I am your father. That's a mask. I mean, you know, that isn't who you are. That's a role that you're playing. That's the persona. And most of us believe that self-worth is increasing the persona, making the persona more valuable, putting on more makeup, more achievement, more roles. And I tell you where that is incorrect, in that all of that arises at that level will pass away. Everything. There is a time of increase in persona and a time of dissolution of that persona. And if you only know yourself in terms of that mask, you will go through a time of much suffering. As the mask starts to disintegrate, as your achievements start to lessen,
as your looks start to fade,
you will suffer, if that's who you think you are. But hang on a moment, if there's a mask, there's got to be something behind the mask. There's got to be someone who even holds the mask. and puts it on in the morning. And what is that? Well, that's the big self. That's who you really are. And while the mask, while the persona is a thing, I mean, it is a thing, who you are is not a thing. How about that? Who you are is a no-thingness. Now, the worst insult that you can actually give anyone is to tell them they're nothing. You tell someone they're nothing and they get very upset. If you tell yourself, you're absolutely nothing. It's derogatory. It's demeaning. But hang on a minute. If I'm no thing, then I'm eternal. If I'm the space between my thoughts, if I'm the space between my achievements, there's maybe something more valuable in me than my achievements, than my possessions, than the roles I play. And because it is a no-thingness, the mind doesn't value it, because the mind only values things. And if you only value yourself and others through their achievements, through their roles, through their thingness, that's a very shallow and a very transitory way of loving. True love is when your true essence, your no-thingness, sees the true essence in another, their no-thingness. That is the recognition of love. That opens up the portal of love to flow.
And that's often, when we fall in love with somebody. So when we go on that first date and we gaze into each other's eyes over candlelight, what are we falling in love with? It's the stopping of two individuals. You become one in that moment. There's no criticism. There's no judgment. You are seeing beyond just the form. You're seeing into that other person. You're falling into the sea of love, which is already there, and which you are. And you're just the barriers between you and the other person are dissolved, and in those moments you are one. That's what falling in love is. And so that is love for me. That's what it is. It doesn't have the boundaries. It doesn't have the barriers. You're not looking at that other person gazing over the candle flame and thinking about how ugly they are and criticizing the next word that comes out of their mouth. You're actually seeing your own beauty in that other person as a reflection. So you're loving the reflection that comes back to you of yourself, and you are one. So as John said there, when you're looking in a flower, you're looking into that flower. You are the flower is you. There's no disconnection between it. And that's the unconditional love. That's the big love.
I love that. It's the recognition of the ocean. So it's the recognition of what is eternal and what is real, and what is real in you and real in them. Yes, encompassed in a thingness, encompassed in a body or a personality or a bit of material or a bit of sheet metal if it's a car that you love. It's encompassed, but there's something more eternal, and that is always a space. It's always the beingness underneath the doingness. And the love is the recognition of that. It's the recognition of the eternity within the form. Recognizing the beingness that's in you, which is also in the other. That is love. So self-love isn't the aggrandizement of the achievement or the roles or the polishing up or the putting on the makeup on the persona. It's the recognition of your true value, which is your no-thingness, which is the formless out of which all the form comes. And that formless is perfect. That formless is whole, complete and perfect, eternal. And when you start to recognize that which lies underneath your achievements, underneath the roles that you play, underneath any mistakes you've made or anything of any value that you have valued in the world of things, when you start to recognize what lies underneath that, when you can look in your eyes in the mirror and see through the mask to the eternal spark of the divine, which is your true essence, that is love. And when you start to see that in yourself, you'll start to see it in the world around you. And that's the value of self-love. The self that you're loving. So yes, one can love the world of things. Nothing wrong with loving the world of things, but realize that they're transitory. that they are brief moments in time. It's like having the ocean, which is eternal, and you can love the wave. But do not look to the wave to be permanent. The wave is transitory. It's always in process. It's always in the process of coming and going. That's the wave. But beneath the wave is the ocean. And true love is to recognize the ocean in the wave and not get fixated with the thingness of the wave, but to see into that which is eternal, that which is always here. And when you start to see the ocean in the wave, you start to know what love really is, which is a sense of connection, because you are the ocean. You are the ocean playing as one wave, and there are many waves around you, but beneath that, you are the ocean, and so is the other wave. And that is love. Love is the recognition of that.
And I think, we often do the mirror exercise, which if you haven't done it, it's a very good thing to do, is Louise Hay was the first person that really made that famous and did huge work there, looking in the mirror every morning and saying, I love you, saying your name and then I love you. And most often when we start doing that, we'll laugh and giggle and look at our wrinkles and feel uncomfortable, because who are we saying we love? But the more you do that, and the deeper you look inside your eyes and connect with the spark, the life spark, which is what John's talking about, that eternal part of you, that's the part of you that you're saying you love unconditionally. And, then by mere fact of it being unconditional, then you love the form as well, because you have to, because it's the unconditional which is encased in this form. So it's to really connect with that deeper part. It's the big self. It's the eternal self. So when you're looking in the mirror and you're saying an affirmation, and we suggest you do that, is start the day with that. Look in the mirror and say your name and tell yourself you love you. But at a deeper level. So go beyond the surface. Go beyond the form.
The mask.
And the criticizing mind that says, oh, I can't bear to look at myself. If that's the sort of thoughts that are going around in your head, it means that you're looking at the surface, you're looking at the form. And we need to go beyond the form to the formless, which is love. It is love. It doesn't have to be anything more, have to do anything more, or go anywhere more, or achieve anything more, or be prettier, or thinner, or richer. It is already love. So it's to connect with that, because that then transforms everything.
Yeah, in the beginning we spoke about how we are programmed to see our self-worth based on achievement, for example. And there's nothing wrong with achievement. Achievement is great, but do we really want to be loved for our achievements and only for our achievements? Do we want to be loved for our looks? Do we want to be loved for the roles that we play? And we say, no, we don't really want to only be loved for that. We want to be loved in a more unconditional way. Am I right? We all yearn to be loved in a more unconditional way. And Michelle mentioned there the conditional and the unconditional. So all form, all things are conditional because they arise in time and space. And as such, they will dissolve in time and space. And that's conditional. But the real love we yearn for is that which transcends time, that which is not conditional. We yearn to be loved for who we really are, for the beingness, not for the doingness. And if that's what we yearn to receive, well, let's give it. Let's give the unconditional love. And what is the love that we want to reflect and receive in the world? So we can use a couple of words to lead us in that direction of what unconditional love is. And it's just very simple to remember. It's the 3 A's. It's acceptance. Love is acceptance, isn't it? When you love someone, you accept them. Not conditionally, but unconditionally. The second one is to allow them to be who they are. Allow them to be who they are. Allow. And the third one is to appreciate. Appreciate. Appreciate the uniqueness that they are. And then let's project them inwards. Let's allow ourselves to be who we are. Let's accept who we are. And let's appreciate the unique spark of the divine within us. And as we start to recognize the love that's real within us, we will see it in the world around us, and it will be reflected back to us by other beings.
Yeah. Well, we all have those days where we wake up and we do our practice, or we're in a good space and we go out and the world greets us back the same way. And we have those days where we don't wake up in a good way, we wake up on the wrong side of bed, haven't had enough sleep, go out, and the world reflects that back. And we can try it. I know it definitely does. That happens with me. And then it's our free choice, our free will, to shift that, to notice it, and to not judge that even. So we sometimes have bad days. Sometimes we're feeling flat. Sometimes we're not feeling happy. Sometimes we're feeling irritated. It's to just acknowledge it and to say, I love you anyway. Even though you're feeling like that, I still love you. And just that process shifts that into a softness. It softens it, as opposed to beating yourself up for it because you didn't do it properly, or you could have done it better, or you could have treated that person better, or you could have behaved better. Just say, no, I accept that I didn't, and I still love this unconditionally. Because we sometimes don't particularly like ourselves, or like what we've done, or like our behavior.
And there's a difference between like and love.
There's a difference between liking what you do, or liking your behavior, or liking someone else's behavior, and loving them unconditionally. There's a big difference. And you can say, I'm not actually that crazy about what you just did, but I still accept you and love you for who you are and what you are, all of you.
Because I recognize the true essence of beingness in you.
Yeah.
I don't like the behavior, but I love the true essence of life that animates you.
Yeah.
That's what I love.
Yeah.
And so that is the difference, is between, we can like things, but love is actually always the no thing within you connecting with the no thingness in someone else. The true essence of life in you connecting with the true essence of life in the other. That's what, the word namaste. What does namaste mean?
I see the divine in you, and it gets reflected back to me.
The divine in me greets the divine in you. It's that sense of oneness.
Yeah.
That's what love is. It's a sense of oneness. One sense of oneness in your awareness. And yes, you might not like what you've done in the past, but you can still love yourself in this moment, because you are connecting with the real essence of beingness in this moment. And you can use the conscious mind to improve your personality. You can improve your home. You can improve your garden. You can do all of that. But that isn't love. Love is not improvement. Love is allowing, love is accepting, and love is appreciating the real essence of the divine in all form, which animates all form, which is inside all form. So in truth, all love is the love of God.
Yeah.
And that's the real underlying yearning that we have as human beings, is for that unconditional love. And so self-worth, again to recap, does not necessarily come from achievement. It doesn't come from acquiring things, because if it does, there will be a time when that will diminish and your self-worth will go down. Real self-worth comes when you start to value the real essence of beingness within you. And Carl Jung was quite clear on this. He said all the world's a mirror. And so if you would like to live in a better world, if you would like to live in a more appreciative, more loving, more allowing world, a less controlled world, a more connected world, be it.
Yeah.
Be that. Start to see that in yourself. Start to live your life that way. Start to see that in the other. And then that will be reflected back to you, because the world is that mirror.
Yeah, and I think that this is an important topic right now, because the world is so much in fear. And I think it's very much about where we choose to place our attention. So are we placing our attention on all that's bad, which means that we're criticizing and separating ourselves from love? Are we looking at the hideous stuff that could happen, or the potential drama that could unfold, rather than looking at something that's more eternal, because we have that choice in any moment. I can choose to send my energy and focus to that or to that. And the more we're actually choosing to focus on unconditional acceptance, allowance, love, the less we'll suffer no matter what happens, because we are then firm in our own being. And if we're firm in our own being, the waves and the winds of change can rush through and we'll still be standing. So it does start with self-love, because you can't expect that from anybody else, because they're going through their own stuff and they might not be able to give you the love that you want in that moment, or need, or think that you need. So it's to actually be that ourselves. And then if we are that, and we are choosing where we want to put our focus, that we are then contributing and enlarging, not enlarging, but animating and amplifying that love.
Be the love you wish to see in the world.
Yeah.
That's really the message. And Michelle mentioned earlier the mirror exercise by Louise Hay, and that's one that we recommend in all the work that we do, that when you wake up in the morning and you see yourself for the first time in the mirror, look deep in your eyes and say your first name and say the words, I love you. Yeah. Look through the mask.
And keep saying it until you actually mean it.
Until the tears of gratitude and love well up in your eyes and flow down your cheeks. Then you know you've connected with the divine in you. And something else from Louise Hay, which we can also recommend, is her affirmation that I love and approve of myself unconditionally right now. I love and approve of myself unconditionally right now.
And to say that, in my experience, to say that in the midst of not feeling particularly enamored with yourself. So when you may feel like you've let yourself down, or you may feel down, or you may not be feeling bright and happy and cheerful, to say it right there, in this moment, I love and approve of myself exactly as I am, right now, in this moment. In this moment, if you're in a bad mood, to actually look in the mirror and say, I love and approve of you right now, as you are. That's the acceptance that we're looking for. That's the love that we're looking for from other people.
Yeah. Because that breaks the social
and
conditioning.
You very often shift that, what could then become self-flagellation and, I can't stand myself. And I mean, self-hatred is contagious. It's more contagious than the COVID virus. Self-hatred is something that permeates our planet and our humanity. And so the antidote for that is self-love. And that is full acceptance wherever you are. And then if you feel that you can do something better next time, then you do that. You know, you shift yourself to be more loving, to be more love, with awareness. But you don't then go and beat yourself up for what you've possibly done wrong.
And it's anchoring your awareness more and more and more in the present moment, because acceptance is merely the acceptance of this present moment. You know, what happened 5 minutes earlier, you can't change. What happened 30 seconds earlier, you can't change. But what you can do is accept this moment. And what happens, you know, we spoke earlier about bringing in the pause, so that you're more conscious and you can react from a place of peace rather than the reactive defensive mode of the brain. And when you're in that state, that enables love to flow through you. That pause allows appreciation. It allows the acceptance of just this moment. And from that moment, you can choose a better action. Not to make or to repeat the mistakes of the past, which, in fact, most of the mistakes in the past were created by unconscious patterns running in your mind. Things that you were programmed to do from childhood.
That's all.
And the need to achieve quite often is based on the appreciation that you were given as a child. And I say there's nothing wrong with achievement, but it's what is that desire within you? What drives you? Is it the desire to express yourself as a unique human being in the world with joy? or is it to acquire appreciation from the world around you and from yourself? If it is, there's going to be a little bit of pain and suffering involved in that achievement for you. So it's to clear away the past programming where you were admired and loved for your achievements, and start to love yourself unconditionally right now, even when you have messed up.
Yeah.
Even when you've messed up.
Yeah.
That breaks that
it.
connection between achievement and love. Achievement is not love. Love is not achievement.
And it's almost like constantly forgiving, you know.
Yes.
I remember watching an interview with Susan Sarandon years ago, and they said, what is the secret of your long-term relationship, you know? And she just looked at the camera and she said, forgiveness. Forgiving over and over again. And I think that that's true for ourselves and our relationships with others. It's forgiving as soon as you can. If then what love would do, if you're in a relationship which is not valuing or not good or abusive, then you ask yourself, what is the most loving thing that I can do? What would love do? If I truly love myself in all ways, what would the loving thing be? And that can sometimes be to remove yourself from a situation. So it doesn't mean that you just sit and take everything. You can then say, now I'm removing myself. That's the loving thing to do. So, but it all goes back to that. It goes back to what would love do in this situation.
That's beautiful. Hopefully you've maybe gained some pointers to a more unconditional, loving way of seeing yourself and seeing the world around you. What we'd like to do now maybe is lead out with a guided, peaceful meditation of self-love with Michelle. And stick around at the end of the meditation, because we're going to give you a powerful affirmation for the coming week. So I'm going to hand over to Michelle.
Thanks, John. Okay, so we'll just end off with not a very long one, but an ending meditation. So I'm going to lean forward a bit just in case my voice goes too soft. So just a lovely deep breath in and a releasing breath out. And another really beautiful deep belly breath in, blowing up your belly, full. Bring that breath all the way up to your chest. And then on the out breath, just drop your shoulders and soften your body. Just release, relax, be. And a third, full but gentle breath in, gentle. And then out, and drop those shoulders even more. Put the shoulders back just a little bit so that you open your heart. That heart center is totally open. That's it. Now imagine above your head there's a beautiful pink light. It's a pink sparkly light. Gentle. Fluid. Let that pink sparkly light pour in through the top of your head. And as it's moving through your head, let it just be clearing out what's no longer needed. Any tension, any pressure, any resistance. Just softening your whole head, softening your jaw, softening the little muscles around your nose, your mouth, and your ears. Imagine a gentle hand smoothing the frown lines on your face. Imagine a gentle hand stroking your hair, assuring you of love, that you are loved. You are so loved. Bring that beautiful pink, loving light as if it was stroking you all the way down through your body, inside and outside. Imagine it was stroking your skin, stroking your neck, stroking your shoulders, relaxing them, letting go of tension, letting go of pressure, bringing that light down, beautiful washing pink light, all the way down through your arms into your hands, down through your torso, front and back, through your spinal column, down into all your organs. And now bring that pink light down into your hips and your legs. Beautiful, loving, pure light down into your feet. Just let that light keep coming down, clearing whatever you don't need, softening your whole body as you receive it, as you open more to it. Imagine that you're a flower, opening yourself to the sunlight, opening yourself to nurturing and nourishing, gentleness. And now take that light, that beautiful pink light, and put it around your heart, your actual heart. Imagine breathing into your heart so that your heart actually gets bigger and more beautiful. Imagine a beautiful pink flower opening, petal by petal. Imagine thousands of petals just opening, 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 right in the middle of you. And now imagine a mirror in front of you. And imagine looking at yourself with the knowledge, the knowing that you are the light that shines through your eyes. Imagine yourself looking inside that mirror with eyes of love, as you would look through eyes of love to a child, a small innocent child. Imagine looking deep inside those eyes to the spark, that life spark, that eternal life spark that has endured and sustained. And say to yourself, imagine saying to yourself, and you can say it to yourself, say your name, and then I love you exactly as you are in this moment. I love and approve of you in this moment. I accept you in this moment, completely, unconditionally. And know that as you do this, you are very, very loved, always. You're always supported. Feel what it feels like to just be in this calm, peaceful place of love. Dropped into it. Nothing you have to achieve or do. You just have to be right here, right now. Connecting with your breath. Connecting with your breath throughout the day is one of the most loving things you can do. You just feel it, feel your body, and take a lovely big Strong but gentle, deep breath in. Send that breath all the way down to your toes. And then another one, deep breath in. And a releasing breath out. And when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes.
Thank you. That was lovely, Michelle.
Okay.
Beautiful. Peaceful. What a lovely way to start the week. It's really nice. Yeah. And we're going to give you an affirmation from a pack of cards that we made here. So, would you like to choose one?
I'll take that one.
That one right on top.
It's, I am grateful for everything in my awareness. That's nice.
I am grateful for everything in my awareness. And it's a violet card, so it connects with your crown chakra. It's your connection to the spiritual world, and spirit is really the essence of connection between everything. I mean, even the rocks have spirit within them. So I'm grateful for everything in my awareness. And gratitude leads you to love. So beautiful. That's the affirmation. I'm going to photograph it and put it onto the Facebook page now, so you can see it from there. And if you're on our Journeys of Awakening WhatsApp group, you'll see it there as well. If you're not on our Journeys of Awakening group, go to our website, journeysofawakening.com, and there's a link there to join our Journeys of Awakening WhatsApp group, where we send out inspiration and we support each other on this journey of awakening.
And let us know how you liked tonight, or if you benefited from it. Give us some feedback. We'd love that. We love to hear from you.
Yeah.
Have a beautiful week and
Full
a
moon.
fantastic, gorgeous full moon
Yeah.
on the 2nd.
Yeah. And go in peace. Hold peace. Yeah. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for sharing
Thanks,
your light
everyone.
and love with the world this evening. Bless you, and we'll meet up with you next Sunday. Thanks,
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Lots of love.
Nighty night. Sleep tight.